A reading from the book of 1 Kings. Today is November 1st. Our reading from 1 Kings is chapter 18. Much later in the 3rd year, the word of the Lord came to Elijah. Go, appear before Ahab, then I will send rain upon the earth. Thereupon Elijah set out to appear before Ahab. The famine was severe in Samaria. Ahab had summoned Obadiah, the steward of the palace. Obadiah revered the Lord greatly. When Jezebel was killing off the prophet of the Lord, Obadiah had taken 100 prophets and hidden them, 50 to a cave, and provided them with food and drink. And Ahab had said to Obadiah, Go through the land to all the springs of water and to all the wadis. Perhaps we shall find some grass to keep horses and mules alive, so that we are not left without beasts. They divided the country between them to explore it, Ahab going alone in one direction and Obadiah going alone in another direction. Obadiah was on the road when Elijah suddenly confronted him. Obadiah recognized him and flung himself on his face, saying, Is it you, my lord Elijah? Yes, it is, he answered. Go tell your lord Elijah is here. But he said, What wrong have I done that you should hand your servant over to Ahab and be killed? As the Lord your God lives, there is no nation or kingdom to which my lord is not sent to look for you. And when they said, He is not here, he made the kingdom or nation swear that you could not be found. And now you say, Go tell your lord Elijah is here. When I leave you, the Spirit of the Lord will carry you off. I don't know where. And when I come and tell Ahab and he does not find you, he will kill me. Yet your servant has revered the Lord from my youth. My Lord has surely been told what I did when Jezebel was killing the prophets of the Lord, how I hid 100 of the prophets of the Lord, 50 men to a cave, and provided them with food and drink. And now you say, Go tell your Lord Elijah is here. Why, he will kill me. Elijah replied, As the Lord of hosts lives, whom I serve, I will appear before him this very day. Obadiah went to find Ahab and inform him, and Ahab went to meet Elijah. When Ahab caught sight of Elijah, Ahab said to him, Is that you troubler of Israel? He retorted, Is it not I who have brought trouble on Israel, but you and your father's house, by forsaking the commandments of the Lord and going after the Baalim? Now summon all Israel to join me at Mount Carmel, together with the 450 prophets of Baal and the 400 prophets of Asherah, who eat at Jezebel's table. Ahab sent orders to all the Israelites and gathered the prophets at Mount Carmel. Elijah approached all the people and said, How long will you keep hopping between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him, and if Baal, follow him. But the people answered him not a word. Then Elijah said to the people, I am the only prophet of the Lord left, while the prophets of Baal are 450 men. Let 2 young bulls be given to us. Let them choose one bull, cut it up, and lay it on the wood, but let them not apply fire. I will prepare the other bull and lay it on the wood, and I will not apply fire. You will then invoke your God by name, and I will invoke the Lord by name, and let us agree. The God who responds with fire, that one is God. And all the people answered, Very good. Elijah said to the prophets of Baal, Choose one bull and prepare it first, for you are the majority. Invoke your God by name, but apply no fire. They took the bull that was given them, they prepared it, and invoked Baal by name from morning until noon, shouting, O Baal, answer us. But there was no sound, and not one who responded. So they performed a hopping dance about the altar that had been set up. When no one came, Elijah mocked them, saying, Shout louder. After all, he is a god. But he may be in conversation, he may be detained, or he may be on a journey, or perhaps he's asleep and will wake up. So they shouted louder and gashed themselves with knives and spears according to their practice until the blood streamed over them. When noon passed, they kept raving until the hour of presenting the meal offering. Still there was no sound, and none who responded or heeded. Then Elijah said to all the people, Come closer to me. And all the people came closer to him. He repaired the damaged altar of the Lord. Then Elijah took 12 stones corresponding to the number of the tribes of the sons of Jacob, to whom the word of the Lord had come. Israel shall be your name. And with the stones he built an altar in the name of the Lord. Around the altar he made a trench large enough for 2 seahs of seed. He laid out the wood, he cut up the bull, and laid it on the wood. And he said, Fill 4 jars with water, and pour it over the burnt offering and the wood. Then he said, Do it a second time. And they did it a second time. Do it a third time, he said, and they did it a third time. The water ran down around the altar, and even the trench was filled with water. When it was time to present the meal offering, the prophet Elijah came forward and said, O Lord, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, let it be known today that you are God in Israel, and I am your servant, and that I have done all these things at your bidding. Answer me, O Lord, answer me, that this people may know that you, O Lord, are God, for you have turned their hearts backward. Then fire from the Lord descended and consumed the burnt offering, the wood, the stones, and the earth, and it licked up the water that was in the trench. When they saw this, all the people flung themselves on their faces and cried out, The Lord alone is God, the Lord alone is God. Then Elijah said to them, Seize the prophets of Baal, let not a single one of them get away. They seized them, and Elijah took them down to the Wadi Kishon and slaughtered them there. Elijah said to Ahab, Go up, eat and drink, for there is a rumbling of an approaching rain. And Ahab went up to eat and drink. Elijah, meanwhile, climbed to the top of the Mount Carmel, crouched on the ground, and put his face between his knees. And he said to his servant, Go up and look toward the sea. He went up and looked and reported, There is nothing. 7 times Elijah said, Go back. And the 7th time the servant reported, A cloud as small as a man's hand is rising in the west. Then Elijah said, Go say to Ahab, Hitch your chariot and go down before the rain stops you. Meanwhile the sky grew black with clouds. There was wind, and a heavy downpour fell. Ahab mounted his chariot and drove off to Jezreel. The hand of the Lord had come upon Elijah. He tied up his skirts and ran in front of Ahab all the way to Jezreel.